Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock, let's go over the market, let's talk about what is happening to Tesla, what we can expect moving forward and all that good stuff. So ladies and gentlemen, as per usual, if you enjoy my technical analysis, my thoughts on the charts, etc., I do share my thoughts every single day with my members in my YouTube membership section, of course, down below. The link is there if you're interested. Some people were wondering, they're saying that they couldn't find it. I'll just show you guys exactly where it is. Some people were like, where is it? I can't find it. Here, let me show you guys exactly where it is in case, well, this is on the NVIDIA videos, right here. Boom, you click this right here. The Tesla guy, you click this link right here, bam, and you get taken right to it. Anyways, so definitely check it out. Link below. $3 a month, access to my updates on Tesla stock mainly, of course, sometimes other stocks, $5 a month, access to everything in the $3 tier, plus NVIDIA daily updates in the $5 tier. But jumping into a Tesla closing the day with, not an atrocious, we'll say 1% on the day, considering, it was obviously much lower, in the morning, I guess you can say, right? Went all the way down to about that, what level? What was the lowest point we went to today exactly? We went to lowest of 363.18, right? So pretty close to that level that we went to on that earnings drop initially, and pretty close to my level I've been talking about for quite some time. Now, unfortunately, we're not there just yet. Technically speaking, there is more work to do to the downside. But the question is are we going to get that, right? That's what I'll try to talk about. I'll give you my thoughts moving forward. So again, this is not financial advice if I haven't said that, and I'm not a financial advisor. So the first thing I do want to start off with, actually, for the first time in a while, is going to be with options. Now, options flow is not something I go over too often, but there is something very interesting happening today. And that's going to be essentially the options on Tesla stock, right? So by the way, Cheddar Flow, great program. I have a link to it down below if you want to try it for yourself. You get a discount too if you use my link below, so definitely check it out if you're interested. But the thing that's kind of, standing out to me is the fact that there's a substantial amount of, it's like many million, 3.3 million, 1.2 million, 2.7, 3.4, 1.9, 2.9, 3.3, 1.3, 3.3, 3.3, 4.2, 1.3, all of these that I mentioned, I'm pretty sure almost all of them, or the vast majority of them are, they're all for February, and most of them, only a couple of them were not, but most of them are for February 21st, 2025. So obviously not that far away from here, right? That is not next week, but the week after that. So pretty much 2 weeks from now. That's not a very long time for this amount of millions inputs coming in. And this came in towards the end of the day. This wasn't like, in the morning when we were following. So this was, towards the end of the day. This was all within the last, maybe 30 to 20 minutes of the day, right? A lot of puts came in. Again, it's a 440 strike. Of course, it is, heavily in the money, but for this size of, money essentially being used to buy these puts, especially considering how short dated it is, it's pretty much 2 weeks to expiration, which is not very long, unless I'm missing something entirely. That's probably why it's like that. But again, we'll see how it goes. Right? Obviously, I don't fully base my trades off options flow, but that is a little bit eyebrow raising. So let's take a look at the chart and then see if that makes sense, right? Does the chart make sense with that, or or maybe they're just wrong, right? That's the question, of course, right? Now, the way, the chart is setting up is pretty interesting, I guess you can say. I kind of want to remove this for now. I'm kind of getting tired of that big ass square there, honestly, because the reason I want to do that is because I actually want to do this instead. I want to take this and I want to draw it something like this instead. I'm going to remove this one. Now, this is where things start getting interesting, right? So Tesla obviously had that breakdown, right? Now we were saying how, we could potentially make a bit of a, I was saying how we could maybe get a small rally, because if there was a place to rally, we were pretty much right at it. Unfortunately, we didn't, right? And what happened was pre-market Tesla, and this is what I told my members about pretty much exactly in the morning. If I go all the way down in the morning posts, most of my posts are like the first 3 hours of the day, because that's when most of the action is right here. Tesla dropping to that below that 374 level pre-market. If we cannot recapture it soon, this can be concerning. And obviously, well, it ended up being a little bit concerning. And that's essentially what happened with Tesla stock, right? Why does it look like this? Is it because I moved my thingy thing? Let me see. Let me go ahead and put this on all. So yeah, it's not on all intervals. That's why. There we go. Let's go with that. Let's go 15-minute again. Beautiful, right? So, you can see, right? This is what happened pre-market. You can see, we closed pretty much right at it. This was a potential, candidate to bounce. And instead, pre-market, we ended up gapping down, came back up. And the second I saw this right here, pretty much, right, is when, I got concerned. Because look at this, right? It pretty much took this level that was, of course, a resistance right here, and it turned it right into a support back here, and it turned it into a resistance right here pre-market. Second I saw this, that was not a good sign, to say the least. So let's see how this actually plays out, moving forward. But that's essentially what caused this massive sell-off, right? We lost that level, and obviously we continue to the downside. So that's important to understand, essentially, is what I'm trying to say. Now, moving forward, right? What does this actually mean moving forward? Now, Tesla stock is trying its best to recapture this kind of 375, we'll say 375-ish level, But like for really true, for true confidence, you want to go back above, honestly, to make things even more confident inspiring, 380. Honestly, that's where it's like even more confidence inspiring. Why 380? Well, again, I'm not someone that likes to use exact levels, right? I'm not someone that just like, I'll say like 374 or I'll say 375, but I rarely mean, well, if it's 375.01, congratulations, the bulls have won. No, it's not. It's never that simple. It's always give or take a few dollars, right? Whenever I say any level. And this kind of box kind of demonstrates that a little bit better, right? Where in the sense that, you can see every single time we've dropped down into this box before, we've, found it as support, right? We had either wicks being formed down here or, whatever the case may be. But, we found support and we found bounces. We found bounces every single time, except for, of course, this candle right here, right? Which, unfortunately, it happened, a little bit earlier than I expected. I definitely thought, there's a chance that we could go sideways here a bit more. We didn't. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is the fact that we want to essentially reclaim this area, kind of like what NVIDIA is trying to do on the 4-hour chart, for instance. Here you can see same idea, right? Same idea as NVIDIA had these levels. Look at this, came back up, retested that, and then moved its way back down, and now it's actually pretty close to it once again. It's pretty much the exact same scenario that Tesla's in, like almost the exact same scenario that Tesla's in on the 4-hour daily, whatever. So you want to watch out for this general range, right? This general range is going to be really, really important for Tesla to now reclaim. So again, starting pretty much from where we are roughly right now, where we close at 374, potentially as high as that, the very high 370s to about 380, right? Because that's as high as, roughly, of course, this kind of goes, where, we've constantly even found support in the high 370s as well and found bounces, right? So we want to really reclaim, again, 375 to about 380 to make it extra safe. So the fact that we're below that is a break of structure. That is not ideal. That is technically bearish, and there are potential reversal potential. There is reversal potential, I should say, here. Absolutely, I'll go over that very soon. But this is one of those instances where it's kind of like when you get a breakout or a breakdown or whatever. Like I assume it's going to continue in that respective direction. In this case, continue down overall. I'm not saying it has to happen literally tomorrow, but overall, to the downside, still to my 350s level, which we got pretty close to today. That could be all she wrote, depending on how tomorrow goes. But, I still expect moves to the downside a little bit more, mainly because, again, we lost a very, very important level. We essentially broke structure. Now, and, these puts obviously kind of, seem to be saying more or less the same thing, right? So what can the bulls do to save that, right? Because again, I don't want to make it sound like it's all bad news, right? There is a chance for this to be saved still, right? You always want to look at both scenarios, right? And what are the bullish scenarios, or what's the ray of hope for the bulls here? Well, the most obvious ones is the fact that RSI has officially entered oversold territory while essentially being at the lower end of the Bollinger Band. Good signs. I like that, right? Those are both good signs. We have a number 4 being printed here, essentially showing that there's 4 divergences on the daily being formed around this range, which is usually a good sign as well for bulls, or in this case for potential reversal. So all these things I'm seeing, it's good. Like I have a sold put. I ended up selling a put for tomorrow at I think like 357.5. I think it was. Get a bit of a premium on that towards when we were at the lower part of the day. But that's the kind of the good news, right? Where technically speaking, because we're at the lower end of the Bollinger Band, the downside from here is limited, I guess that is the better way to put it. Where again, I still lean bearish until proven otherwise. Again, down to about 350s, something in 350s. I don't know exactly where, but somewhere in the 350s, which isn't that much lower from here. And we got again pretty close to it in the morning, right? We got very, very close to that in the morning at around 363. So the other thing that the bulls have going for them that could, again, I use the word could, signal a potential reversal is the actual candle itself, right? It's arguably it's either a dragonfly doji or a hammer. I'm not really sure which one, but they're similar. They're similar in purpose, where they're essentially both bullish reversal candles. However, a dragonfly doji, you can see, has a tested performance reversal 50% of the time, while a bullish reversal on the hammer candle has a bullish reversal 60% of the time. So they're pretty close. Whether it's 50%, whether it's 60%, they're clearly pretty close in overall statistics of an actual bullish reversal. What does it actually take for this to arguably get triggered? Well, number 1 is breaking above 2 days high tomorrow. Ideally tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the day that's ideal to do it. So I'll break above it tomorrow. That'll be good. That's what we want to be seeing as bulls, right? You want to see a break above whatever today's high was. What was today's high? Today's high was 375.40. So a break above today's high tomorrow is good, and a close above today's high tomorrow is much better. So if we can get one of those two things, then I think the bulls are really giving it like a valid attempt at recovering the stock and bringing it up from what could be bearish continuation back down to about 350s. So let's see how tomorrow goes, right? But again, this is one of those instances where it's still, as of right now, as it stands right this very moment, it is a break of structure. It is technically still bearish. We are now going to be most likely coming into what is, of course, resistance, because again, this area, this whole area acted as a support, pretty much, where we closed at and slightly above it. So now, in theory, this area should also be now a resistance, right? Support, now resistance. Simple stuff. So let's see how the bulls react around this area. This is a pretty important area for the bulls to reclaim, because if we do reclaim it and if we do get back above the high 370s to honestly even 380 to make it extra safe for a little bit extra comfort, I guess you can say, this will be viewed as a decent false breakdown, and that would be very bullish for a potential powerful bullish reversal. But that is still a big if, because keep in mind, we're also below the 50 EMA, which is this yellow line. That's the first time yesterday, and I mean, again, arguably this candle back here, but yesterday was the first time we truly convincingly closed below it, which is also another reason why we saw this fall through to the downside, unfortunately, despite, could have been a bit of a bounce, obviously, you never know for sure. Because, again, if there was a place to bounce, yesterday's candle had the opportunity. Unfortunately, pre-market said otherwise. So yeah, I guess that's kind of the easiest way to put it, right? Obviously, the red cloud still exists. Now, if this red cloud, this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Usually, the way I look at these things, if this red cloud, which is a 921 EMA, ever crosses down below the 50 EMA, that to me will be another bearish signal, right? So if the bulls really want to turn this around, they want to bring this back up above 380 and ideally even break above about high 390s to 400 for like a true breakout before this cloud right here gets below this yellow line, because that would put extra bearish pressure, like technically speaking, on the stock. So yeah, I mean, let's just see how that goes, right? I mean, let's see how it goes. Let's see if the bulls can step in tomorrow. There is a chance they can step in tomorrow. Again, essentially a green close tomorrow would be a good sign moving forward into next week. So let's see if the bulls can step in and do that when it really matters, because right now it absolutely does matter, because if we cannot and if we do not, I do still lean to the downside until essentially proven otherwise. And well, now you know what I'm looking for to be proven otherwise, right? What else is there? I think that's the majority of it. Now go back to the weekly chart. Remember how, again, for the weekly candles, right, I've been talking about the mean reversion for quite some time. And we're pretty close. We're actually finally pretty close at today's low. I wouldn't say we're there just yet. I wouldn't say we're there just yet. But today's low, it's getting very close. Like, it's getting to the point where from today's low, I don't see that much more downside. Like, there's not a crazy amount more downside, like especially from today's low. Let's say you ended up buying today's low. Technically speaking, the risk of the downside would have been another maybe 4 to 5% roughly, I would guess. Versus, what could be potentially, still a decent upside once we, of course, revert to the mean, which again, this can still take some time, especially if tomorrow we do not get that green day and we do not close back above those levels. And especially we have issues getting back above, that we'll just say the high 370s, this can be problematic, right? Especially with the weekly MACD potentially closing, to the bearish side tomorrow, unless we get a very, very green day tomorrow. So tomorrow could be pretty interesting. So let's see how tomorrow goes. But those are the main levels I'm looking for confirmation one way or the other. But again, as of right now, if I have to pick, I do lean slightly bearish, mainly because of the break of structure until essentially proven otherwise, which again, there is a chance for that to happen. Absolutely. Tomorrow will be pretty crucial to see if the bulls can step in when it matters most. But yeah, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.